Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Janelle Draper. Janelle Draper, how the hell are you?
I'm great. How are
Oh,
you?
oh, it's so nice to talk to you, and it sounds like you were in quarantine on Long Island. What is that like?
It's it's interesting. I'm not a Long Islander, but I'm getting into
Yeah, I've heard some bizarre shit. Like Long Island goes on forever. Can't you drive like 4 hours to the tip of it? And so it sounds like you are not a native. You are just a tourist there on Long Island, and that couldn't be more interesting.
totally. And I keep saying I'm in Long Island. I have to catch myself and say, actually, I guess I'm on Long Island. It's great. There's a lot of wildlife. We're in this beautiful neighborhood in East Setauket, and I see deer every morning out the back window and ducks, so I'm enjoying it.
It sounds like a magical place. EC Talkit, what is it?
East Setauket.
Oh, East Setauket. Oh, that's just amazing. It sounds so just perfect. And before we get into the nature you're observing and the exercise that you are doing in lieu of comedy, I guess, let us know where we can find you do stand-up comedy in New York City when it opens, but also where are you doing it in the meantime? Like, are you doing Zoom shows or Instagram live shows? And will they, where on social can people follow you?
Oh, great. Yeah, please follow me at Janelle Jokes, Janelle Jokes on
Yes.
Instagram and Twitter. And I'm doing several different Zoom shows, and also I'll do random Instagram shows, but typically when the world is back to its new normal, everyone keeps calling it, I'm at the Stand in New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a regular show there, and I also have a show at Stand Up New York on the Upper West Side. So if
And
you're,
one of them is Twisted Sisters. And
yep.
what's the gist behind that? Like, what can people expect from a Twisted Sister show?
So I'm really glad you asked. That's the last show we did live, and a lot of all the comedians I booked, that was March 11th, that was my birthday show, and they all have said that was the last live show they did because that was the night everything went to shit, basically. The night
Yeah.
that Trump banned international travel, really the outbreak started in New York that night. But to it's a really fun show that I run with my sister, who's a midwife and nurse practitioner who practices out of Yale in
Wow.
Connecticut. Yeah, and so I'm the comedian and she's the medical professional, and it's sort of like a younger version of Loveline, if you will, where we answer anonymous questions from the audience that they submit into our overflowing fishbowl, and it's questions you're too afraid to ask your doctor or your
Wow.
friend. Yeah, so we answer those halfway through. We get hilarious, really funny questions that actually also help people, and we give a heady dose of knowledge along with hilarity. We also book a really impressive lineup of comedians and always have a fun intro duo act. So that's what
Yeah, there are some big name comedians there. And like, how did you kind of have the idea to pair with your sister? Because I would initially I would think that it might take a while to kind of hit upon the idea that a medical expert could be part of a hilarious stand-up show, but it sounds like that's the case, and you found the formula.
Thanks. Yeah, it's funny how it came to be. First, I got this slot to do the show from the Stand, my favorite comedy club in New York City. If you haven't been, I suggest you check it out. And
Nice.
yeah, and so I didn't want to produce just a regular old stand-up showcase. I wanted something to be unique and have a hook. And I've always been passionate about health and sexual health and women's rights and things like that. And obviously, so is my sister. That's why she's in that line of work. So we just have a really close relationship. So I said, "Hey, would you be my sidekick?" And she's like, "Okay." She's very clinical and very dry and serious and rigid, but I think it works well because I'm really
Yeah.
goofy, sort of this yin yang energy where we bounce off each other, and it's just fun to work together and have this kind of platform for advocacy and knowledge, and also entertainment and levity. So
And how, I mean,
yeah.
at what point did you guys diverge as far as one of you becoming a stand-up and the other becoming a midwife nurse?
Oh, it's a great question. I think it's when I was living in LA, I always was tempted by the limelight. I always said, it seems like I enjoy The first time I did stand up, I remember clear as day that I had this feeling in my gut. I said to myself, I said, I've arrived. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And it just gave me chills head to toe. And so I knew that was back in 2012. And I knew that that was for me. And my sister at the time was a little unsure of what her future was going to be. But I guess she did a lot of her own reflection and introspection and learned that she actually was really interested in women's health. And then that parlayed into her job. She had a Planned Parenthood, which parlayed into learning about midwifery and then going to school. So that's kind of.
Is that how you pronounce it? Midwifery?
Yeah, midwifery.
Wow.
Wild. Yeah.
That's the funniest possible pronunciation. So I'm glad to hear that. And so it sounds like she wants to help people with their kind of sexual health or reproductive health, and you want to help people through laughter. And I think they're both equally valid.
Aw, thanks. Yeah.
Especially during the coronavirus. Like, we got our frontline helpers, but there's also the people who's helping everybody else. The people who are quarantined at home and they want to see a Zoom show with Janelle Draper.
Yeah, well, I had my grandparents on the last one. That was a riot. They basically stole the show because they're 80 years old. And they're like, sweetie, we don't see you. And there's 60 people, other people on. Some I know, some I don't know. And a whole lineup of comedians waiting to go, and it was just a trip. And then my friends taking bong rips in between the comedian. I see my grandparents are one box over, one square over on the grid.
Well,
Zoom grid.
that's it. They're part of the show now. I mean, I'm going to,
Yeah.
if I see a Zoom show, I'm going to expect them to be there.
Yeah, yeah, they will. They're very supportive.
And so, do we think the final show was so uproariously successful with such big comedy names at the stand that perhaps you guys willed the coronavirus into being?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you say that because we definitely thought long and hard about, do we really want to have a show tonight? My sister wanted to cancel it. She's like, how can we be a health related show?
Yes.
And I said, no, come on, it's my birthday. I was a little spoiled brat, and then we still had it.
And because of your birthday, you guys just had a super spreader party. Just like out there in the Hamptons, you guys are spreading it like a virus. And I love the fact that your sister was so loyal to your birthday that she still took part.
Not only did she take part, Brian, but she actually came and surprised me with about 80 homemade vulva cupcakes.
Oh,
So,
are they on your Instagram somewhere? Do you have
yes,
pictures?
I had pictures. They're so amazing. Everyone is different and unique as real life.
And were
So,
they healthy vulvas, or do we think there was some frosting mishaps where we could construe it as a lesson in sexual reproductive health?
oh, that's a great question. I think they were all pretty healthy. Some had chocolate pubes and.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Every vulva is beautiful in its own way. And I love the fact that your sister is really, I mean, even with the Instagram pictures of the 80 vulva cupcakes, I think that she is kind of teaching us just how to be, not only medically appropriate, but still hilarious. And Janelle Draper is the one bringing that to us. And what I want to know is like, the way you guys were brought up in such a way where you had such divergent paths, like, can you point to things in your childhood that could have been, I don't know, indicators of where you guys would end up? Like, are there any pictures from the past where you're just being a goofy ham and your sister is just being the deadpan one?
Yeah, there definitely are. I'm thinking about a home video that we did in which my dad pans over to us, and we're both in the front door waving at him, and I stick my face and mouth right up against the glass, and I actually I like blow a raspberry out, and I
Oh,
felt like even as a toddler I was looking for laughs and looking to be goofy, and she was always just very serious, and the one who was a rule enforcer, though she did have edgy times and she broke the rules in high school, but
yes.
I think because she was firstborn, I'm the middle child. So, oh, we do have so many cute photos that we're
Look at
actually
that.
building a website right now. We'll have some on there.
Oh, good, because anything that any stuff from the past that you show is just going to go to promote Twisted Sisters, right? Like that's why you're forming a kind of a website, with those pictures on it.
Yep. I have my personal site, and then she and I are trying to start a podcast of our own, actually. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
sure I'll be reaching out to you for all your great tips and things like that.
Oh, that's so
And
cool. And is it going to
yeah.
kind of revolve around sexual health?
Yeah, hopefully it will be a version of our live show. So, we'll do a quarantine episode where we know people are too afraid to step outside, and we have all these leftover questions. So we want to help people while they can't go see their doctor and they have questions still. So,
Wow, they're just
yeah.
fucking like jackrabbits.
Yeah, exactly.
And it sounds like, I mean, we found out before we logged on that you are just surrounded by nature, and I want to know what kind of what's the wildlife situation, and what's the funniest animal?
Oh, the funniest thing I've seen so far is, well, I keep catching deer mid-act of munching hard, and I'm taking videos of them, and they'll catch me because they're so close, and they're literally a deer in headlights, and they just freeze. And I think that's how my boyfriend probably feels when he comes and catches me eating all our quarantine snacks in the middle of
Oh,
the night.
I
But
love that.
the other thing I noticed is that on Easter, we saw two ducks having sex.
They do that.
Yeah, they do that, but it was pretty
Oh,
violent. Then I went down this rabbit hole and learned that unfortunately it's very common amongst ducks.
okay. Wow, I can't believe that. And so that you're just figuring out what's funny about the wildlife. And why are you kind of, I mean, are you just kind of, you happen to be out in Long Island? It sounds like, I mean, you're not out there in Issaquah very often, but have you been there before quarantine, and how is it different? Like, are you able to, I suppose this situation is a little bit unlike Times Square in New York City right now, where it used to be fairly dense and now it's empty. Like, what are you seeing out on the streets? Give us the report from Long Island. What's Janelle Draper, what's happening on the streets?
Well, I'll tell you, Ryan, it is lots of masks, lots of nervous people. I mean, the development we're in is really nice. There's some man-made lakes here, and like I said, lots of wildlife, lots of beautiful trees, and I'm here because my boyfriend is from Long Island, and we were very fortunate to stay in his parents' place while they were in Florida. And they just got back today, so we're enjoying their
Oh.
company. Yeah,
And
so
so are you going to continue to stay there while they're there?
for a couple of days, and then we're gonna shift gears and go visit my family in New Hampshire at Lake Ossipee.
Okay, my Lord, these names. And so you're
Yeah.
you're 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 New Hampshire.
I'm originally from Massachusetts. My
Okay.
parents just have a lake house that we enjoy in New Hampshire. So
You're going
yeah,
from man-made lake to real lake, and then again you're going
yeah,
to observe the wildlife.
exactly. It is kind of nice to step away from the hustle and bustle of New York City and
And I
not.
mean, yeah, do you miss it at all? Because it sounds like you pretty were. I mean, you had the hustle of a stand-up comedian, you had your own show, and is it a monthly show? And kind of are there any hustle, phantom hustle pains that you are feeling right now because the hustle is just no longer being utilized?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. I have so many phantom hustle pains. I wish I knew that's what it was called months ago when it first hit. I just thought I was going insane. But yeah, no, phantom hustle pains for sure.
Um,
Because that's a great. You should coin that. I don't know. You should
I think I
invent
think
that.
your sister can tell you all about the phantom pains, and every time she ever talks about phantom pains, like when a baby gets removed or whatever, she's also referring to the hustle.
Yes. No, you're right. I mean, you can't beat the energy of the Big Apple. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true. And I'm someone that likes to go, go, go. I also work in TV. I'm also writing a couple comedy pilots right now in my
Okay.
downtime. So I'm just trying to stay really busy so that I don't fall behind when I get back to the grind. So I kind of have a
Wow.
show.
So even a comedian could fall behind. Like you're on such a career path, and you're so far along that you feel that if you didn't bang out a couple comedy pilots, you would be behind.
Well, even if nothing happens to the pilots, right? It's still just a great exercise to be writing longer form and to be getting into characters. I think anyway, someone could disagree, but it's something that I like to spend my downtime on is yeah, because I know that we do have Zoom shows, but it's not the same. And I think writing every day can be daunting, but when you're writing with a partner and you're creating a show and a whole little ecosystem in your mind. It's kind of fun. I think it
Yeah.
activates something that I've been missing.
And so you're writing pilots. Are you with a partner? Are you writing with your sister? I wouldn't think.
No, her
Okay.
schedule's way too busy. All she can really afford to do is give me some time with the podcast and the live
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I suppose you could do the next medical comedy.
I know that would be cool. A reboot of Grey's Anatomy,
Yeah.
definitely.
There's got to be some funny things that happen around midwifery. Has she talked about any of the funny things that happened around stage?
Oh yeah, she does tell funny memories. She delivered Ron Howard's baby. I mean, sorry, granddaughter,
Oh,
daughter's baby.
wow.
Yeah, so and normally HIPAA doesn't allow you to go into those details, but he actually wrote a really nice post thanking the midwives of Yale, and actually that was my sister who personally delivered his daughter's
Oh, wow. So,
daughter.
you said
Yeah,
granddaughters. Is that the Bryce Dallas Howard? Does she have a daughter, or is this a different Ron Howard kid?
different Ron Howard because I definitely know. Wow, good point. Bryce
Bryce
Dallas
Howard
Howard.
Dallas, or whatever her name is.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I didn't even, I forgot this, that she was his, I didn't think it was,
I-
wait, was it? Oh my God, maybe it was her. My sister is so not clued into Hollywood or entertainment. She did say she had red hair. Wait, what? I'm dying. What is this?
Yes.
It had to be. How many kids does he have?
I don't know. We're gonna have to look it up. But man, that is fucking Hollywood royalty. Let me tell you. That's Opie's granddaughter.
And she must live in, okay, so he has, all right, so he actually has three daughters. I
Oh,
think
okay.
I think she would have known if it was Bryce Dallas Howard.
And they probably all have red hair anyway, so that's probably not
Right,
helping us
right.
qualify. Yeah.
Paige Howard is 35. Then there's Bryce, and then there's Jocelyn Howard and Reed. Okay, I'll get to the bottom. It's one of the three. But no, she also tells. So she calls it catching. She doesn't even like to say deliver. She goes pizza.
Ah.
She goes, we're not delivering pizzas. You know.
But you have to remind her that the Seattle fish market catches fish. So you'll have to retort, be like, you're also not catching fish.
That's funny. Oh, where are you when I need you most?
But that is so funny. And Janelle Draper, we can look forward to the next version of your online comedy show, like Twisted Sisters. When is the next one when we can find your aged relatives chiming in?
That's a great question. I don't know when that one will
Okay.
be yet, but I'm sure to post it on social media. So if you follow me there, I will definitely be promoting it.
And that's Janelle Jokes on Twitter. And is that the same thing on Instagram?
Yep.
And also Janelle Draper. And when are we going to know when the Twisted Sisters website comes out?
Oh, I will. I can post about it there too. I think it will be about a week or two from now.
Yes, and I can't wait to see the picture of you hamming it up through the screen door of the glass door.
Aw, thank you. I hope that we friends on social media yet? Because I'm trying to find.
We will be in about 5 seconds. Once I log off, I'm like,
Okay.
now we're friends. We've talked about Bryce Dallas Howard's reproductive system, and so we're buddies now.
We're there. We cut right to it. I love it.
Okay, and enjoy Long Island, and it's called Issatukket.
Yep, East Thanks so much.
Issatukket.
Right.
Yeah, and the New Hampshire place you're going has also got a cool name. What's that called?
Lake Ossipee.
Lake Ossipee?
Yes.
Okay,
Ossipee Lake. Yep.
that is so cool. And we can't wait for the next version of Twisted Sisters. And are you still doing foreplay on a hump day?
Yes,
Stamps
that as
coming
well. Yep,
in? Okay.
that one's also happening.
Is
We
that
have
virtual too in the
we have
meantime or no?
we haven't done a virtual yet. The tricky thing about virtual is you cast a wide net. You have 60 people join, but then some people forget to mute. It's funny. It's harder, but we should think about making that one virtual.
Because they will check that all via Janelle Jokes and JanelleDraper.com. Janelle Draper, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brian. This is such a pleasure. You really made my night.